What's going on, people? I am the Big Herc, aka your girlfriend's favorite podcast host. And if she says I'm not, that hoe is a liar. So is that like regular whiskey or? Mhm. Yeah, I might make that at the house. I don't know if I'm gonna use Jameson, but I might need to make me a whiskey sour at the crib. 4 years, I think. Yeah, 20. So yeah, we think it was officially. It was officially December of 2020 when I got divorced finally. Um, I went through. So one of my homeboys, who was talking about getting a divorce at the time, was like, "Hey, I'm sick of XYZ. Um, man, I signed up for Legal Shield, and them folks told me if I pay the subscription for 3 months, I can go ahead and get an uncontested divorce, through the membership." So I was like, well, shit, let's do that. Um, Ironically, um, and I don't know if so I talked about this a couple of times, but I was I cheated on my wife. Just gonna be open and honest, transparent. I did cheat. Um, but in September of like 2019, um, for one of my ex-girlfriend's birthday presents, I took her out to eat. Um, and one of the gifts that I gave her was I said I paid this subscription to Legal Shield so that, like I'll be divorced this time next year. Um, and she was just like, "Oh, you for real, for real?" I was like, "Bruh, like I did all this shit. I went through all that shit, and I'm tired. Like I'm getting a divorce. So like part of one of your presents is you can say I paid this." Um, which now kind of is like, well, damn, like that's kind of cold, but it was a gift. Um, so I showed her like I paid the first month of the Legal Shield. So I think I started in September. So by like January of 2020, I had hit the 3 month mark to where they could do like the uncontested. I had already moved out of the house. Um, so we were kind of in that in the So like, and I don't think a lot of people know, but like when you actually go through a divorce, at least in the state of Tennessee, they have you do like a 6 month cooling off period, just to kind of, yeah. So it's kind of like 6 months to kind of make sure this is what you want to do, because like like I tell everybody, man, divorces can be expensive. Um, they say it's cheaper to keep her. It sometimes it really is. Um, so they give you like a 6 month cooling off period to, be separated just to see if y'all are really gonna go through with the process. So, that started in January. So in the middle of the summertime, it's like, okay, well, we hit the 6 month mark. Now it's time to, start calling and talking to the lawyer that they provide for you, actually go through the actual process, the divorce proceedings. Um, so you go through, like I said, I went through Legal Shield. They set me up with a lawyer, um, filled out, man, I want to say like a stack of paper like this huge, where you gotta like pretty much go through, man, who gets this, who keeps that, um, you know, who gets custody of this. Like so it's all this stuff that you gotta pretty much fill out. Then after you fill everything out, you have to like actually sign this paperwork in front of a notary, um to get everything approved, and then you can send it back to the lawyer. So it's just like, and it's easier. Well, in my case, it's easier because, my ex-wife is like, yeah, you can have whatever. I don't really care. Um, you can, I, you gone already. I'm moving on. It is what it is. So it was kind of like one of them things where we had got through the period. She didn't want anything. She didn't contest anything. Um, and it was kind of like one of them breaks. So that took enough, not together. Yeah, yeah. So, so after we fit out all that, a couple months just to make sure the paperwork was right. It was like in the heat of COVID, so everything was like virtual. So we didn't necessarily like, and then like the legal shit, like I didn't have to actually go to court. We just met up, signed the papers at the end. The lawyer took the papers to the judge. Judge signed off. Man, December, we were officially done. So it took, I mean, usually it take like, and I've heard like in some spaces in Tennessee, like, man, you can, man, get divorced and quit, but usually it takes like 6, 7 months. So we met 2010. Um, I was a college student. She was a college student. We met through her high school, her one of her high school classmates, who is like a who's like a brother to both of us. Um, and I think he was scrolling through Facebook, and I was like, bro, like, who is that? He's like, man, oh, that's so and so. And I was like, oh, so and so kind of cute. No, you don't want that. I said, bro, she cute. Like, she got the little, got the little, jump hug and up poking out. Like, she kind of cute. Um, so he's like, man, talk to her. So I slid in her DM. Um, I started off talking about wrestling of all things because we're both, avid watchers of wrestling, WWE. Got her talking about that, and then we kind of just we kind of just clicked from there. Um, so we started talking, inboxing, exchanged numbers. Now she was at the University of Memphis. I was down at Russ College, in Holly Springs. So anytime I had some extra money, or I could bum a ride from somebody that was headed to Memphis, I was up here, with her, hanging out, kicking it, chilling. Um, when I graduated in 2011, I was supposed to be in Memphis for a week. Um, so yeah, when I graduated in 2011, um, from Russ, I was supposed to be in Memphis for a week. Wednesday, the Wednesday before I was gonna leave, because I was like, it was either I was either gonna go back to Chicago or I was gonna go to Alabama. I wasn't 100% sure. I was going back to Mississippi. I wasn't 100% sure where I was going, but I knew this week was the week was to spend with her because we weren't sure where we were going. Um, and then like Wednesday of that week, we kind of sat down, had a conversation, and she was like, "Hey, if you really don't want to go, you don't have to." I talked to my dad and my stepmom. They said you can stay with us here in Memphis until you get on your feet, find an apartment, whatever. Um, and that's how I ended up in Memphis. That's how like that Wednesday in 2011. We had that conversation, and I've been here man 13 years now. So you know, people ask, I like, it's like, man, how the hell you in Memphis? I will be here a week. We stayed with um her parents for about 3 months. Um, and then we kind of just migrated to there. So there was like a time we weren't like homeless, but we wasn't like we ain't had no like we went on our own place. So we stayed on, folks' couches for a minute. Just whatever we could, do. So we ended up finding an apartment um with somebody later that same year, moved in with them, and everything was cool. We were still dating. Like I see the little Facebook memories all the time. Like, damn, like I was working at Sears, like I was working electronics in Sears, grinding. Um, like $6 an hour plus commission. Um, mm, so so I was grinding, and we end up leaving a friend's apartment and getting our own spot in East Memphis. Um, like in 2012, I want to say. Yeah, so 2012. She was still in school. I was working full time. Just kind of, just trying to make stuff work. Um, so in like 20, so like in the middle of 2012, she was working at Subway part time. She was still in school. I was at Sears, and I've been talking to my brothers and my dad, and I was like, man, we've been together for a minute. It's time. You know, Gotta get married. And they were like, sure, like, you don't like you ain't gotta do like you don't have to move that fast. Like you can pump your brakes. I was like, nah, man, I was like, man, we in love and we grinding together. She hold me down, XYZ. It's the right thing to do. Um, so that day, and I can't remember the day, but it actually popped up in my Facebook memories a couple weeks ago. Um, I was in I was in my Sears uniform. She was in her Subway uniform. She picked me up to switch out the car because we had one car, and I spent like $200. Took a part of my commission check, Spent $200, bought her a little engagement ring, and I proposed right there in the middle of in the middle of electronics department in Sears. So like the picture is like she's like this, all shocked in her subway uniform, and I'm putting a ring on her finger. So that was in like 20, yeah, like 2012. We kind of had like, we kind of had the conversations like, hey, I really care about you. I love you. Like I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I want to have another kid. Like we had those type of conversations. Um, and just cause like I was in love, I was like, bro, it's what you're supposed to do. Like you don't do the whole, just wait, 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 wait. You just kind of jump out there. So like my oldest brother, um, married, man, 20 plus years. My second oldest brother, he's been married like almost 15, 20 years. My dad didn't get married till he was like 40. Um, but the guys in my family, with the exception of my dad, like even my dad, my uncles, my cousins, we just had the kind of reputation of being like these charismatic, flirtatious guys, and women kind of just was like, oh man, like they just kind of like gravitated to us because we just had that personality. And the women in our lives were like, that's just who they are. So, but my dad didn't get married till he was 40. One of my cousins didn't get married till he was, I want to say 30. Um, my old one of my older my couple of my older cousins, one is married and divorced. She was married like 5, 7 years. My oldest cousin on my dad's side, he's finally finna get married again. Shout out to my cousin, shout out to cousin Ray Ray. Um, so but like we just didn't get married like that. Like we were just kind of like flirtatious bachelors. So I was like, man, like I'm 23. That's like I got like 23, 24 at the time. This the one. Let's lock it down. And I was like, it's time. So I went on and jumped in that water. So now keep in mind, I worked at Sears. She was in school. We s- like she surviving, like we surviving off refund checks from school. Her, part time check, my check from Sears. So there's a there's a wedding chapel here on Summer Avenue called Two Hearts Wedding Chapel. It's still open. We 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 went there. I think we spent, man, $1,200 for a full ceremony. My childhood best friend came down from Chicago. He was my best man. One of her best friends was her maid of honor. If you look back at the wedding pictures they still up there, I ain't took them down. Maybe she has, on them. But if you look at the picture if you look at the full picture, it's full of people from her side. Like my mom didn't come, my dad didn't come. My brothers were like, "Hey, we can either send you a gift or we can come to the wedding. Like we can't do both." So they sent gifts. But the majority of the chapel was her people, with the exception of my best man, his mom, um, my best friend's girlfriend, and a couple people that I went to school with. But everybody else was like, and I was cool. I was like, but in hindsight, I was like, well, damn, like, not saying that my family didn't rock with her, but I was like, damn, like my mama didn't even come to my wedding. Like that should have been a major like red flag. Like, why you doing this? Your mama ain't here, your daddy ain't here, so that in itself should have been like, I don't know. But we got married. June 1st, 2013. So things were decent. Um, I don't ever want to say like they were, and it's not a knock on her, like not a knock on me, but like they were okay. Like they were decent, they were good, but there was a lot of things that we both needed to do as far as like growing up and learn. Like I needed to legit learn how to run a household. Um, she legit needed to learn, how to cook and clean and, be responsible with, for stuff, raise kids and just like we were both young. Cause like I want to say like 23, 24. She was like 21, maybe 22. Um, so we were young and just like trying to figure shit out. And it's just like, well, damn, like you ain't gonna cook tonight? Like I'm tired of eating that. Like you don't cook like I know you don't know how to cook per se, but man, they got classes that you can take, you know, or man, like we both need to clean up. Like the room look a little junky. Like what's going on? Like I clean up on my day off and I understand you got school, but you ain't doing X, Y, Z. So, you know, we would have these type of conversations and it'd be like, okay, I'm gonna fix it or I'm gonna change, I'm gonna do better. And it would be like that for a month, month and a half. Then it would slowly go back. There was a point in time where folks were like, hey, um, we'll teach you how to do X, Y, Z. Um, you know, Um, and she was like, "Okay, I learned," but it would never get done. So we moved. So I want to say like we moved like man. So we lived in East Memphis for a minute. We lived in Raleigh for a minute. We lived in Bartlett. Yeah, we moved around for a minute because anytime I would get a raise or a different job, we needed more space. Yeah. So, but it was just one of them things like you kind of got tired of saying the same shit over and over and over and over. You raising like to a certain extent. At one point, it's like I was helping raise our son, but also having to help raise her or trying to get her on the same page so that we could, figure shit out. Or like, bruh, like I shouldn't have to do like I should have to do all this on my own. So or like I understand like your time like I had a running joke where um um man 9 months out of the year everything was on me, but tax time or school refund time, man, she cashed out. And she would cash out, get a little cash card, pay up the bills for a couple months, splurge a couple gifts, whatever, but majority it was on me, which is cool. Um, but it wasn't never really just like equal thing. It was more pull something. And like I said, like she would like, like in them times, And I'm not saying like she just wouldn't do anything. Like, well, she was going to school, getting certifications, trying to get her bachelor's, um, in school to get her master's. So she was in school and I got it, um, but I was pretty much pulling the weight where while she was able to like go to school, work part time, quit jobs when she wanted to, wreck cars, all this other shit. I'm just like, bro, like, damn, like, shit is stressful. Like, I need you to do half of your part, like, do a third of your part. Um, and it was just like, all right, bro, like, it's getting tiresome, but we in it now. Like, we married. Like, we supposed to death do us part. We eventually, when you graduate, man, you're gonna get this job. You can match effort. You're gonna get this master's. You'll make more money. So like just holding on, just looking out and constantly, just trying to reach the potential of what our marriage could have been. And I think that was one of the things that was one of the mistakes that I made where it was like I was chasing the potential of what could have been as opposed to kind of just saying, bro, like you not trash, but you not great either. And I ignored a lot of the red flags that she displayed that other people saw. And I was just and it's ironic. I had this conversation with my best friend like earlier today. Um, it was like there was a lot of things that she didn't do that you did. And when she said you, she was talking about me. That you did that kind of just saved her, and nobody really knew except people that were around y'all a lot. So it's just like, well, damn, like even like man, as recent as like a couple years ago, somebody called me and was like, when you were married to her, like, did you make all the decisions? Because it don't seem like she can do shit. I was like, she did it. I mean, she did certain things, but yeah, I made the majority of decisions, good, bad, and indifferent. Whether it was, because and like I said, it's not all on her. Like I made mistakes, I made bad decisions that put us in situations that we didn't need to be in. But she did follow me blindly to a certain extent into whatever situation we were going into. So I will say that like she was loyal to a T. Like she man like if I said man we going if I said the sky was bright orange, all right, baby, it's bright orange. No one is black. Right. So she's that and that was one of the things like it's like, man, she's standing 10 toes down. How can I not? How could I leave? Because she's standing 10 toes down. Like, yeah, it's a little hard, but she's still standing. She right here. And she was in there, she was there when I ain't had nowhere to go. She was there when we was sleeping on the floor on a mattress. Like, so keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. Um the hierarchy of the way she kind of saw things. Um it was God, dogs, social activities, son, me. Well, let me rephrase that. God, dogs, son, social activities, me. Yeah, she will move heaven and earth to make sure my well my son, our son, um, got what he want, got what he need. We did. We would have different conversations about hey, like, I don't feel like you care. Like, I feel like I feel like, give like no now gifts aren't important, but your thought process behind giving gifts is trash. So like I said earlier, man, we both, love wrestling. 1 year for either Christmas or a birthday, she got a WWE Championship belt, a Michael Jackson calendar, and some crossword puzzles because she was working. I think she was working at a nursing home part time or something like that. Or she had just started at a nursing home doing like LPN work or something. Something like little stuff like that is like, hey, I paid attention to what you said you wanted, what you like. Here it is. For my birthday or Father's Day, oh, you like Old Spice. Here is a thing of Old Spice, or hey, here's a bottle of liquor. Like, where's the thought? Like, yeah, I like this stuff and it's cool, but like, where's the effort? And it's like, well, I don't make a lot of money, ma'am. If you just ask here, like, do something. So that was part of it. Um, and like I remember a story where, well, not a story, but I remember a time where one of her old friends, I don't know if they still cool now, but one of her friends was like, we were literally sitting on the couch. I wasn't paying attention. I hadn't started stepping out yet. Um, but they were having a conversation about um fellatio and or yeah, they was having a conversation about fellatio. And I think she said, well, um, I don't mind doing it, but I gotta get mine. And if I'm on my monthly, I ain't doing it because I want to get mine too. So her friend goes, ma'am, are you insane? Do you know what do you know what your husband does for a living? And she was like, yeah. She's like, I don't think you do. Women probably throw themselves at your husband on a daily basis just to get a free fucking phone. He can fuck anybody he wants to and then come home and do whatever he wants to do to you. And you gonna tell him that he can't get no head because you on your cycle? You being dumb. Those were her exact words. And I was like, whoa. I was like, wait. I was like, I didn't like. Now in my head, I was like, oh shit. But my face was like, it may. So but that conversation like legit happened, and you would think, okay, well, shit. Now other people are saying it. Now you should. Now it's not just me. It still didn't change. Um, I was working what I do. Well, I wasn't going to people. I was doing what I do now, working for the company I work for now. Um, and there was a young lady that came in the store and was like, she was flirting, I was flirting back. Um, but we exchanged numbers because I knew somebody that did jailbroken fire sticks at the time, and she was trying to get yeah, she was trying to get she's trying to get a fire stick. So she ended up texting me a couple days later, hey, did you get back with your guy? I was like, oh, he ended up getting in trouble. He don't have them no more. And she was like, I've been wanting to ask you something, since I met you. Like, you don't wear, because I never wore a wedding ring. Um, but people knew I was married. She's like, are you married? I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh, well, um, I'll fall back. I was like, well, nah, and like, I was like, we can be cool. Like, as long as you ain't on no disrespectful stuff, we can be cool. Um, we can be cordial, we can be friends. And that was the beginning of the situation. Um, I think we had started talking, texting, and having conversations. And I ended up, I think I was off work one day. She was in her car, I was in my truck. We met up at Waffle House, went out to breakfast. Like she paid for it. She's like, oh my, like I'm taking you out to breakfast. You don't have to pay nothing. Don't swipe your card, nothing. So I was like, wait, what? You paying? She's like, yeah, you ain't used to folks paying for you to eat. No, not really. Like I got a wife and a kid, so it like not saying she didn't do X, Y, Z, but I knew it was coming out of my account. Um, so she paid for breakfast. We talked some more. We kind of we kissed that day, and we kept talking. Conversation went from talking to I want to do X, Y, Z. She pulled up to the house one day. We did X, Y, Z, and that's when it started. Almost a year. Yeah. So she worked. So my ex-wife used to work 3 to 11. Um, I would get off work 5 or 6. Pick my son up from aftercare. She had kids, so I would just say, "Hey, we going to so and so house. She cooked dinner. We gonna hang out over there, and we'll see you when you get home." Um, and that was my cover. Like my son would be hanging with her daughter. Man, we eat, we hang out, kids do whatever, and it was just the perfect. It was kind of like the perfect cover. Now granted, like as we got into it, feelings started getting attached. Like there was a point where she was talking to a dude, well, the other girl was talking to a dude. I was like, man, I don't give a fuck about none of that. Cut that nigga off. You mine. And she's just like, how you gonna claim me and you married? You got a whole like you finna go home to you finna go home to your whole wife and lay up with her. But you telling me I can't talk to this person. And I was like, yeah, I don't give a fuck about none of that. He gotta go. And she let him go. Um, so but there were times where she was just like, bruh, like we can't keep doing this. I don't want to be with you. You need to go home, work on your marriage. And I was just like, I don't give a fuck. I'm in too deep now. Um, we had like gone on, and at like one point we had gone to Grizzly games together. We were hanging out. We were exchanging gifts. Like everything that my wife wasn't doing, she was doing it. Like um, I was like, man, like I go to people's houses, selling phones. I go on lunch break. Hey, I'm off work today. I made lunch. Come over. We kick it on my lunch break. Get it in on my lunch break. I go back to work with a smile on my face. Like for maybe. So it finally came to a head when I think so, and I can't remember exactly how it happened, but I think she went through my phone. She went through my phone and she found a video of the girl doing certain things on my phone. So instead of because she was because like she's non-confrontational, she was just like, I don't, she didn't say anything to me. She said something to somebody else, who then was like, hey, you might want to, stop because she found a video. Now, granted, we were like on a cruise, like we were in the middle of the ocean when I found out she had found the video of the girl. So, and she still didn't say anything like, I found this video. What is this? And I think what ended up happening is I was in the shower doing something, and she went through my phone, or the girl sent the video or something on Facebook Messenger, and my phone went off, and she because because at that point it got to, like towards the end, I didn't care. Like I was, if you're gonna find out, you're gonna find out. Like because and I tell people all the time, like man, like that year of leading that double life, stressful as hell because you like you got like you got the wife at home trying to make sure she's straight. Then you got the other girl over here. You got to make sure she's straight. Then you got to make sure like you got to make sure kids kind of shut up because if you got to kind of like, hey, don't say like, yeah, you can say we went here, but don't say nothing. Like, don't say you saw me hold. Nah, like I mean, like she knew, like she knew where we were. Just don't tell your mama you saw me holding her hand, or like if you know we would like sneak off in certain parts of the house, like, and if we heard all, we would move back like nothing happened. Like, but that was stressful. Like towards I was like, bro, I don't care no more. Like you gonna find out, whatever. Um, but even after she found the video, it was still like a couple months um before anything happened. And like when she finally did say something, like one of her friends was like, you gonna have to choose. Either you gonna stay there and fix what you broke with your wife, or you gonna leave her. Like stop playing with that girl. And I was like, shit, I ain't happy. I ain't happy. I ain't happy here no way. She cooking, the other girl cooking, cleaning, sex good. I ain't gotta ask for it. I ain't gotta beg for it. Man, she goal oriented, money good, taking care of this, like checking all these boxes. I'm gonna go over here. So I was like in the middle of July, I packed my stuff. It's like I'm gone. Which ironically, like I left on a Friday. The following Friday, no, 2 weeks later, my daddy died. So yeah. To a certain extent. Um, so I found out on a Friday night my dad had passed. I was literally laying in a bed with, you know, uh, my new girlfriend when I got a phone call saying, my dad had passed. Like I hadn't told my dad about anything as far as like the new girl. I hadn't told my brothers, like certain people. Like I didn't even tell my best friend. Like to this day, she still get like mad at me, but because I ain't tell her right. Because I ain't tell like she had an idea, but she didn't really know. So like, I hid it from her for a while because she was like, because she had been hurt and cheated on. Like she's like, if you ever like, I hate cheaters, I hate liars. If you if you ever did that to somebody, I would take your goddaughter from you. So I didn't tell her, just for the fear of that. So um, and what's crazy is the week before my dad died, I was already up in Chicago because my aunt had passed. And my dad kind of was like, "Hey, before you head back to Memphis, come back and see me. Come by the house, see me. I want to, we need to chop it up." I didn't go because I was trying to get home. I was trying to get back to Memphis to get one more little, quick little session in before I went home with, her. So I was like, so anyway, make a long story short, dad dies. I've officially left, my ex-wife, and I posted stuff on Facebook. She tells other people, "Hey, um, don't tell him I'm coming. I'm going to Chicago to save my marriage." And she pops up like because I got a hotel for the weekend, and she pops up in my hotel room, and I was like, "What are you doing here?" He was my father-in-law. I came to pay my respects. All right, cool. Where you staying? 'Cause you can't stay in here. Well, I'm staying with my cousin. All right, cool. Shows up to the wake, sits off to the side, doesn't say anything, kind of just real distant. Next day at the funeral, I'm cool, like I'm holding it together. I'm cool. Um, we get all the way to the part where me and my brothers have to give the remarks. Um, so we're giving remarks, and my brother says, I'm talking about my dad's love for music and how he passed it on to me and XYZ. And my brother comes up after me. He says, goodbye, Pop, love you. They close the casket. I go insane. I'm talking about tears just start rolling. I'm crying like, man, I'm in that sanctuary just hurt. Keep in mind, she told folks I'm coming to Chicago to save my marriage. She didn't move. No consoling, no, come here, come home. Like my brother took me to the back of the church and was like, man, just let it out. She didn't come back there. She didn't, come nothing. And she was like, she lost her mom at 18. So like she knows what it's like to lose a parent. I had never really experienced that. So she still didn't really say anything. So kind of calmed down. And that's when my brothers are like, y'all not together. I was like, right, right. I was like, wait, what do you mean? He was like, y'all not together because when my brother cried, his wife was there. When my oldest brother, my older brother, just because it was COVID, he didn't want to expose his family's kids, to that. So they were there, but they weren't there. Um, but my oldest brother's wife, I think she was there. Um, but my older brother, he was like, y'all not together because you broke down and she didn't move. Like that's some ain't right. And that's when I was like, yeah, we about to get we separated, about to get a divorce. I moved out, and they were like, nigga. we'll we'll talk about this later, but nigga, like for real. So, but that's what she was like. I was just like, and like now that I kind of like look back on it, like even if she would have can try to console me, like would I've been able to accept, her trying to, be there because I had mentally right. She came, like, but if we've been, yeah, right, because at that point, like I said, like that last year, like 6 months to a year, I was mentally checked out. I didn't care. I was like, bro, you could do whatever. I was like, you find out, you find out. So I was just like, man, it is what it is. Like, hell, now, ain't no point in hiding now. See how quiet it was. That's how it was. That's how it was. Like, what was there to talk about? Like, she was just kind of like, I had moved on. Um, like and folks were looking at me like, um, you dumb. Cause so, and one of the things I did, so I didn't want my credit messed. I didn't want my credit messed up. I didn't want her credit messed up. So, but we were like when I left, we were legit, man, like 4 or 5 months left on a lease where we had moved into a house. So I had a conversation, with my girl at the time. And I was like, hey, look, you, I'm moving in with you, and I'm gonna help, but are you able to maneuver and navigate everything over here without my help? Because I don't want my credit messed up at my old house. And she was like, well, yeah. So I said, the lease is up in November. You got until November, damn near December. Stack up money, find you a spot. I'm going to pay the rent. I'll give you some on the lights. All you're responsible for is pretty much the upkeep and your car. I got everything else. So you would think, okay, you get somebody 6 months to kind of get on their feet, get them a head start. She moved out in her own spot in 3 months, and then was struggling. And everybody was like, "Well, why would you get her? Like, why would you pay the rent somewhere you don't live?" Well, for one, I'm not a cold hearted ass dude. Two, my son is there with her. So like I need if nothing else, I did it so my son got somewhere nice. comfortable, stay where he can lay his head. I ain't care. Like I cared about. Like I still cared. Because like that love never goes away. But if we being honest, I did it for my son. And man, like she, it really showed that she just wasn't ready to handle all that. Like the house flooded, stuff started falling apart. Stuff was just like it was crazy. So like I paid it until the end, but didn't get none of the security deposit back because like when she left, like she left the house like something flooded, and then she just like left stuff in the refrigerator, and just like the house smelled like 5 cans of bounced that ass. And I was just like, bro, like why would you do that? Like, and folks are like, hey, like it's like he's giving you the opportunity to pretty much live rent free and stack your money. And why you not doing it? So um she moves out, and I paid, the last couple months of rent. And then it was just like, all right, we'll talk for the kid, but what else is there to talk about? And we didn't talk until maybe 3, 4 weeks ago. Well, 2 months ago. So I end up leaving my ex-wife for my ex-girlfriend. And then we ended up together, and we broke up like a couple months ago. Because there was like, trust issues, like the foundation wasn't built correctly, all that. Um, but like, with me, like me and my ex-wife would like we would communicate, like because I would still, get my son, he would be with me. Um, like when I say like my son's like I'm the only daddy, I've been in his life since he was 3 months old. Like that's me. Um, so I would get him. I was like, bro, I don't have to talk to your mom. I bought you a cell phone. I would, if I needed to, like, if it was something major, hey, tell your mom to come. Like, it got to, it was, there was a point in time where, um, we were trying to do something for my son's birthday, and he wanted to do something. And I was like, well, tell your mama to call me. She wouldn't got me. And I was like, bro, like, it's about the kid. I don't want to have an adult conversation. Right. Right. I don't want to have an adult conversation through a kid. Right, through a kid. She never called, by the way. So we just kind of did it, we kind of just did our own separate thing. Like I said, so about 2 months ago when this happened. Um, and then all of a sudden it was, hey, how you doing? I'll be damned. What's up? Ma'am, you ain't had a full conversation with me in 4 years. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, oh, hey, man, get away from me. Stop liking my statuses. Like, you don't care about my pod. Like, I've been doing a podcast for 2 years. You ain't said a word. Now all of a sudden, right, right here you go popping up. But I would hear, hey, she watched it. She's still watching it. She's supporting it. Okay, cool, appreciate you. And I wouldn't say nothing. Okay, cool. Like my co-host at the time was like, you should stop watching it. You should stop watching our show. And she was like, well, why? Because it's gonna hurt you. He's not holding anything back. He's pulling no punches. Now, is he taking accountability for things that he did? Yeah. But is he also ripping you a new one? Fuck you. You probably don't want to watch that. And she did. So everybody deals with things in their own ways. Um, but for a while, like, man, we didn't talk. Like we would have it was a legit conversation in passing. Like if I saw like if we were for the longest time, everybody says Memphis is so small. I would be out. I would never see her. We would never be, never bump into you. We were in some of the same spaces. Never see each other. Then all of a sudden, we get into a different space. Now I see you all the time. Now we having conversations, or now it's hey, man, you ain't talked to me in 4 years. What we talking about? A combination of both, if we being honest. So like I've always been like a charismatic, outgoing person. Like that's just always been in me. Um, I have a lot of friends. Like half my friends are like, hey, sit down, heal, be by yourself. The other half, bro, go out here, be in these streets, have fun, talk to that chick, talk to that chick, talk to that chick, go bag her, that one, that one, that one. So I'm doing a little bit of both, um, where I'm talking to people, um, having conversations, but I always premise the conversation like, hey, look, I am in no way, shape, fashion, or form in any position to be your man. So don't ask. Like we can't do that. Yeah, right. Yeah. So like I'd be like, hey, look, I'm in no way, shape, fashion, or form in any position to try to be anything other than your friend. We can talk, we can hang out, we can get to know each other. In the event that, I'm to a space where I feel like I'm healed enough and I'm ready to take on the responsibility of being somebody's boyfriend, we can if we still rocking and rolling, we can explore the option then. But until then, man, we just talking. Now, granted, if you want to do woo off the bam, we can do that. Well, you know what? We can't because I kind of figured out I'm not built for like casual sex right now. Like I'm still I'm I kind of like one person at a time. Now, if people, the DM's open, we can have a conversation. Um, but it's kind of like I know I believe, soul ties are real, and I ain't trying to be tied up to this demon or that demon, or you tied up to my inner demon. Or we be trauma bonding over stuff, and then it's just we don't fucked each other into a relationship, and now we can't get out of it. So, but it's nothing wrong with a couple conversations and getting to know each other. So I put my hoodie on like Kermit the Frog being them little toxic memes. Cause I swear I be trying to be toxic and all that. I can't. I ain't built like that. I'm gonna tell y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all like this. Like I joke, I laugh, I play. I know, that part of being in this healing process or this healing journey, you got to be alone. But god damn it, when it's raining, when it's raining outside or it's cold at night, and you laying up in the bed by yourself, shit ain't fun. It's not fun. But hey, it's part of the process. But if somebody wanna cuddle up, you know, DM open. All right. So if you're thinking about marriage, the one thing that it's two principal things that I'll tell you. One, don't ignore the red flags. Like they're there. Like do not ignore the red flags. Don't. Yes, it's cool to be in love. Yes, you great. Yes, they have great potential, but do not ignore the red flags. That's one. And two, my brother right before because I've been contemplating divorce, but I was like, I'm just gonna try. I gotta keep going, keep going. But my older brother put a bug in my ear and said I use this philosophy to this day. He asked me a question. He said, if you were to get sick right now and you had to go in the hospital, do you believe that your partner can hold it down until you get back on your feet? If the answer is yes, that's your person. If the answer is no, or you have any doubt, do not marry or do not get with that person. That is not that's not what you're supposed to be. Um, and after like I think we were in like year 4 of the marriage when he asked me that, and I was like, nah. He said you're not supposed to be married to that woman, and I was like, well, no. He's like, no, you can't. Mhm. We didn't like we had conversations, but the way she would answer questions was a red flag in itself, and I still ignored it. The behaviors were there, the conversations, but I still was like, no, this, I love her. She gonna change, like love is gonna change this, love is gonna change that. Like that's we gonna be all right. Like you fell in like the honeymoon phase ended pretty fast, and then now you in it, and MLGW ain't running off love. You know, you can't run a car off love. Like and if we being honest, like nah, like was it all bad? No, like I wouldn't stay married for 7 years. If it was all bad, but um, like I ignored a lot of the things that um I shouldn't have because I was in love. I was like, oh, it'll change. It it if they're one way before the ring, they're gonna either be the same or worse after. You can find me on Facebook at Marvin Big Herc Morgan. You can find me on Facebook at Herc's World. IG is Herc's World _24. TikTok, I am the Big Herc. YouTube, Herc's World. So I'm all those places. Man, we got a lot of content coming up for the new year. We're almost ready to record episode 100 of my podcast. So we got a couple special surprises and guests for that. Just signed a new, I guess. Well, yeah, we just signed a TV deal to where we're part of the collective creative collective network. I might be saying that wrong, but yeah, you know what I meant. Um, yeah, we just signed that deal, so you'll be able to find us there. Um, yeah, that's if you type in Hertz World if you type in Hertz World or Big Hurt, you're gonna find me. Um, you know, I'm not this size for nothing. Like you can't miss me. before we get up out of here, I just want to give you your flowers, because you are killing it. We ain't known each other, a long time, but I love your energy. I love the conversations that you having. I love the drinks that you be making. So I need to take a minute to give you your flowers because you are absolutely killing it right now. And it's important to give folks their flowers while they still here. Hey, y'all remember I am the Big Hurt, aka your girlfriend's favorite podcast host. And if she says I'm not, that hoe a liar.